My name is Tracy Whitfield, and to get started on our necklace project, we want to start with a comfortable length of beading thread. On one end of a thread, we want to add a needle, and on the other end of the thread, we want to add a stop bead, leaving about a 6-inch tail. I am using the black Wildfire beading thread 0.006, and we will be adding thread for this project. So I have my beads here, and for the QuadBow beads and the PieDuo beads, I'm using the jet bronze color. For my 11-0 seed beads, I have the Duracoat galvanized champagne gold. And for the 8-0 seed beads, those are the Duracoat galvanized muscat color. So to start, we're going to start with one of our QuadBow beads, and we're going to sew through the first hole, going from the inside edge to the outer edge. And we want that to drop down to our stop bead. And here we're going to pick up 2 of our 11-0 seed beads, and we're going to sew down through the second hole of that QuadBow bead. We'll be using a right angle weave motion to add beads around the QuadBow. So now we want to pick up 2 more 11-0 seed beads and go back up through the first hole of the QuadBow bead. And now we want to go through the 2 11-0 seed beads that we added at the top. And back down through the QuadBow bead, making sure that we are exiting the QuadBow bead only and not picking up one of those 11-0s on the bottom. We're not going through one of the 11-0s on the bottom. So now we want to pick up 2 more 11-0s. We're going to come back up through the third hole of the QuadBow. Add 2 more 11-0s. Go back down through that second hole of our QuadBow bead. Then we're going to go through the last 2 11-0s on the bottom of that QuadBow. And back up through that third hole of our QuadBow bead, making sure that our thread is exiting the QuadBow bead only. And give that a nice pull. And now we want to pick up 2 more 11-0s, go through the last hole of our QuadBow bead, 2 more 11-0s, back up through the third hole. We're going to go through the last 2 11-0s we added at the top. And back down through that last hole of our QuadBow, making sure our thread is exiting from the QuadBow bead. Now we're ready to add our connection to our next QuadBow bead, and we're going to do that with seed beads and a PieDuo. So here we will pick up 1 11-0 seed beads. We're going to go down one of the sides of our PieDuo bead. We're going to pick up an 11-0, an 8-0, and an 11-0. We're going to come back up through the second hole of our PieDuo. I'm not going to pull snug yet. Just want to show you all the beads that are going to be added. So then we're going to add another 11-0 seed bead. We're going to get another QuadBow bead, and we're going to go through the first hole of that QuadBow bead. Here we want to pick up an 11, an 8, and another 11. We're going to come back over to our previous quad bow bead and just go down through that last, that fourth hole, making sure that we don't go through any of the seed beads just yet. So, and once again, I just want to show you the beads that we added for this section. So after our last quad bow, we picked up an 11-0. We went through one of the sides of the PieDuo, and 11 and 8 and 11, went back up the second side of the PieDuo, picked up another 11, went through the first hole of the quad bow here, and 11 and 8 and 11, and came back down through the last hole of our previous quad bow. So now I'm going to tighten this all up before I sew through our next bead. So now with the thread exiting from our quad bow, we're going to go through that 11-0 seed bead that we added right before our PieDuo. So go down through that 11-0 and then also go through your PieDuo bead. Come back through the 3 beads on the outer edge of your PieDuo. Back up through the PieDuo, back up through that 11-0. And then we're going to sew through the first hole of the next quad bow, exiting out of the top of that quad bow bead. And I'm going to give it a little tight pull here. And now we're ready to start adding the seed beads around our next quad bow bead. So again, we're going to pick up 2 11-0s. We'll go down through the second hole of that quad bow. Pick up 2 more 11-0s. Go back up through the first hole. And then we're going to go through the last 2 11-0s we added at the top. And we'll go back down through the second hole of that quad bow, making sure our thread is exiting only just the quad bow bead. We pick up 2 more 11-0s. Go back up through the third hole of the quad bow. 2 more 11-0s. Down back through the second hole. Then go through the last 2 11-0s we added at the bottom. And then back up through our quad bow. Pick up 2 more 11-0 seed beads. Now we're going to go down through the last hole of our quad bow. 2 more 11-0s. Back up through the third hole. And then back through those last 2 seed beads we added at the top. And then back down through our quad bow bead, making sure that our thread is exiting from our quad bow bead and we don't sew through one of the 11-0s that's sitting there. So that is what we have right now. And then we're going to get ready to add the next connection to our next quad bow bead. So here we will pick up an 11-0, sew down one side of our PieDuo. Pick up an 11 and 8, another 11, sew back up through the second hole of our PieDuo. Pick up an 11, sew through the first hole of our next quad bow. And pick up an 11 and 8 and another 11. come back over to the previous quad bow and just sew down through that last hole. And then we want to sew through the 11-0 right next to our PieDuo. Go through our PieDuo bead. Go through the 11, 8, and 11 on the edge of our PieDuo. Back up through the second hole of our PieDuo and go through that 11-0. And then through our QuadBow bead. And now we are in position to start adding the seed beads around the next QuadBow bead. So you want to continue on adding QuadBow beads, seed beads, and the PieDuos for one side of your necklace. For my necklace that I am making today, I will be adding a total of 14 quad bows on one side. Once you have the length that you prefer for one side of your necklace, I'll be back to show you how to add the middle piece. Let me just give you an example of what I'm talking about. So this is my sample necklace that I have here, which I made using the these are the white baby blue luster quad bows and PieDuo beads. So on this necklace, I actually only used I used 12 quad bows on each side of the necklace, and it sits, this is more like a choker necklace. So I want to make this one I'm using with the jet bronze a little bit longer. So we just go ahead and add the number of quad bows that you think you'll need for the length for one side of your necklace. And then when we come back, I will show you how to do this centerpiece and then get started on the second side. All right, so now that we've added the quad bow beads, the number of quad bow beads we need to the one side of our necklace, I have added 14 to mine. Our thread is exiting out of the bottom of the last hole for that last quad bow bead that we added. And now we're going to get ready to add the center of the bracelet on. So to do that, we're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. We're going to let those drop down, and then we're going to go through a quad bow bead. And we're going to go through the third hole. If you're counting, have your quad bow positioned like this and you're counting from the top, you'll go through the third hole from the inside edge to the outside edge. We're then going to pick up 1 11-0, and then we're going to go through a PieDuo bead. We'll pick up an 11, an 8, and 11, and we're going to go through the second hole of that PieDuo bead. Pick up one more 11, and then we're going to go through another quad bow bead. And we're going to go through this quad bow bead from the outside edge to the inner side edge, and we're going to go through the third hole down. And your beads should be sitting like this. We're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. And we're going to pick up another QuadBow bead. We're going to go through this first hole of the QuadBow bead. Pick up two 11/0s. We'll come over to this QuadBow bead and we're going to go through that second hole down. Just going to pull tight. And this is what it'll look like so far. We'll pick up one 8/0. We're going to come over across to this other QuadBow bead and go through that second hole. Now we want to step up through the first hole of the same QuadBow our thread is exiting. We'll pick up one 11/0 seed bead, come over to this QuadBow bead and go through that first hole. And then we're going to go back through the second hole of that same QuadBow, go through the 8/0 seed bead again, and then go through the second hole of the other QuadBow. Here we'll pick up two 11/0 seed beads. We're going to come over to the last QuadBow on the side of our necklace here, and we're going to go through that last hole. And pull tight. We'll go through those three seed beads we added at the bottom again. Go through that third hole of that QuadBow bead, through the 11/0, go through our PieDuo, and then 3 beads on the edge of our PieDuo. Back up through the second hole of our PieDuo. Go through that 11/0 and the third hole of the QuadBow following it. And go through these 3 11/0 C beads. And then back up through this QuadBow bead. And this will be the first QuadBow bead. This one right here will be the first QuadBow bead on the other side of our necklace. And so what we'll do is we'll start adding the seed beads again like we did on the other side. So we'll pick up 2. Before I do that, since this is the center of the necklace, if you want to go ahead and just reinforce that thread path one more time, that's fine. What I plan on doing is once I'm finished on both sides, I will be running my thread through the top of the necklace one more time to reinforce. So I'm not going to reinforce that center section right now. All right, so back over here, our thread is exiting out of the top of the first hole of this quad bow. I have two 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to go down through the second hole. Pick up two 11/0s. Go back up through that first hole. Go through the last two 11/0s at the top. And back down through the quad bow. We'll pick up two 11/0s again. Go up through the third hole of that quad bow. Two more 11/0s. Go back down through the second hole. And then through the last two 11/0s on the bottom. And back up through the quad bow bead. Two more 11/0s. Back down through that last hole of the quad bow. Two more 11/0s. Back up through that third hole. Go through the last two 11/0s at the top. And then back down through the last hole of our quad bow, making sure that our thread is exiting just the quad bow bead. And now we're in a position where we can just continue on adding the PieDuo and CB connection like we did on the first half of the necklace. And we're going to add 14 more quad bows on this side, or however many quad bows you need for the length of the necklace that you are making. One thing I did want to point out is that I'm using the 11/0, only 11/0 and 8/0 C beads, but if you wanted to add a little bling to or shine to your necklace, I have a sample here where on the bottom of the PieDuos, I added just a really small crystal instead of an 8/0 seed bead. I believe these are 2mm round crystals, so it just adds just a light touch of shine to the necklace. If that's something that you are interested in, that can be done, or it can only be done on the center PieDuo or all along the side. For mine, I actually like the classic or timeless look of just having only seed beads, so that's how I'm going to make my necklace. So go ahead and finish the side of your necklace, and when you come back, I'll show you how to do the ends of the necklace. So now that we have both sides of the necklace done, we're ready to do our ends. And right now, the thread should be exiting out of the bottom, the last hole on the bottom of the last quad bow bead. And here we're going to pick up three 11/0 C beads. We're going to pick up a wire guard going through one side and then up and around through the other side of that wire guard. Then we'll pick up two 11/0 seed beads. And we're going to come back down through the last hole of that quad bow bead. And we want to make sure that our thread sits in our wire guard nicely. I'm going to pull that together. If you need to adjust how your wire guard sits on your seed beads, you can just do that with pliers. I think I just need to open mine just a tad bit. And now I'm going to reinforce and go back up through the 3 11/0s, up through the wire guard. And then come back down through the other side of that wire guard and back through the 2 11/0s I added here. So I'm going to just go through the 2 11/0s. I'm not going to go back through the QuadBow bead, because exiting those 2 11/0s, I'm in position now to start reinforcing the top edge of the necklace. So just going to start sewing through the 11/0 seed beads that are on the top. And I'll do this all along the top of the necklace. I'm not going to pull too hard. I don't want the necklace to start curling. But what I'll do is I'll just go along the top, kind of adding going through the seed beads, adding that reinforcement. Once I get to the center, I'm just gonna go through the second hole of these these 2 quad bows, and then go through that 11/0 that's sitting in the middle, and then come back out on the other side of the necklace. The other thing also that we need to do is add our seed beads and our wire guard to on the other end. So we'll just take off our stop bead, add a needle to our tail thread, and add on that wire guard and the seed beads to end off this side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, finish going along the top, and then I'm going to end all my threads, and I'll come back and show how I add a clasp to end off the necklace. So now we're ready to attach a clasp to our necklace, and on one side, on the wire guard, I attached a jump ring, and I'm going to do that to the other side, attaching the wire guard to our clasp with the jump ring. Okay, and that should complete our necklace. This is a clasp that I've had in my stash for a while. All right, so there it is. And the necklace itself has kind of just a natural oval shape to it. There's 14 quad bows on this side. There's 2 quad bows in the middle, 14 quad bows on the other side. With that many quad bows, this is roughly around a 17, maybe between 17 and 18-inch necklace. I can extend it by maybe adding a chain if I chose to. So, yep, that is the end of our project. Thanks for joining me in making this necklace. I hope you enjoyed it. If you need any of the supplies to make this project, you can visit PotomacBeads.com or PotomacBeads.eu. And again, thank you.